Thank you, Mayor. And I'm going to cast a little doubt on the process that we went through to get the public comments because, as we saw earlier with Community Development Services, we got 670 responses. We got 85 responses to this, and this is a very important project. So, by no means am I casting any blame here. I just simply feel like we maybe made a decision without all the information that's available to us. I'd like to address three concerns that I've been hearing from the public: the park, the parking, and the possible construction impacts. While considering the final sites, we were told briefly about compliance issues with the Land and Water Conservation Fund. We were told that it was a simple mitigation issue, and after I've looked more carefully at the issue, it is far from simple. It appears we may have not completely understood the mitigation requirements for putting the water tower in South Capitol Park.
I've got some correction. It appears you may not have understood. Staff has understood all along.
Well, we have not complied yet.
For 20 years.
This lack of compliance and the fact that we are currently unable to apply for grants with the Land and Water Conservation Fund is very concerning to me. In 2020, this fund was fully funded for the first time in years to the tune of $900 million annually. Recently, Mountain Home received a $750,000 grant while we were unable to apply. We are already missing a great opportunity to receive matching funds, but to purposefully put ourselves more out of compliance with the fund by siting the water tower in South Capitol Park is not something I feel I should support. I'd like to read an excerpt from the Idaho Parks and Recreation rules concerning the fund and Section 650 of the conversion to other uses. Generally, properly acquired or developed with LWCF assistance is not converted to other outdoor uses without prior consent of the state liaison officer and the National Park Service regional director. I know we've been in contact with these people. We have not gotten the required approvals yet. Prerequisites to approval on conversion from the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation will only consider a conversion request once the following prerequisites have been met. All practical alternatives to the conversion have been evaluated and rejected on a sound basis. I'm pretty sure we have other alternatives. The property proposed for replacement is of reasonably equivalent usefulness and location. Does this mean we must buy property on the riverfront? With these issues and others, such as why the Parks and Recreation Commission were never informed that we were considering placing the water tower in the park, or why we never toured the sites, have given me more reason to reconsider my decision using all the data I now have available. On to parking. Looking at the overhead view of downtown, it is apparent that there are more parking spaces per block south of Broadway than in any other part of downtown, yet the closest spaces are often taken by employees and students leaving patrons with little nearby parking. Just 2 weeks ago, we received a report from Idaho Falls Downtown Development Corporation that parking downtown is adversely affected by downtown employees. It seems that many downtown workers may be their own worst enemy. They claim that there is insufficient parking while occupying spots that should be reserved for the patrons. I personally have observed many empty lots with no time restrictions across Yellowstone Avenue. I walked from this lot to the middle of the block on Cliff Street, and it took less than 2 minutes. A comment in the earlier survey that we got about site selection was, quote, "I work and go to school downtown, and it's hard enough to find a place to park where I don't get a ticket." Well, unquote, excuse me. To get a ticket, you must park in a 2-hour spot, which are preferred for customers. Less than 2 minutes away is free all-day parking, yet this person chose to park closer. This respondent was counted as in favor of placing the water tower in South Capitol Park, even though she didn't choose a preferred site. Just cited parking as her issue. This is one of many similar responses. Looking back at our survey results, it appears that the parking issue was heavily favored. Conversely, the advocates of South Capitol Park mostly didn't respond to the survey, as many say they were unaware that comments were being taken. They started responding when the public hearings were noticed for the CUP, but the decision had already been made. Should we ignore their concerns? I don't feel we should. It should never be too late to change a bad decision. On to the construction impacts. I've also received a lot of feedback from merchants concerned about construction impacts if we build near Cliff Street. And let me say that we do construction all over town regularly, and it's always inconvenient and it's always messy. But we do our best to minimize the disruptions, and we keep access open. We are currently doing a major project on First Street, and by working together with business owners, we are able to get the improvements done with the least disruptions possible. The lasting effects of South Capitol Park are essentially permanent, while construction impacts are temporary. I sympathize with the effects of construction on the businesses at Cliff Street, but I'm equally concerned about my responsibility to maintain the integrity of the river corridor. And in closing, we have a compliance issue with the Land and Water Conservation Fund, and we should stop digging ourselves deeper in the hole. Now, I can no longer support the South Capitol site until that is resolved. And last, one of our mantras at the City of Ottawa Falls is to embrace data. I'm concerned that our survey results are likely flawed and are not statistically valid. I think we've made a site selection on incomplete data. I am by no means saying we should throw out the previous comments, just that we should add the more recent comments to the mix and revisit our choice for a site. Thank you.